Right, welcome to our second feature match here on week 2 in our Planechase League. We got Chris York returning to the feature match. He's becoming a regular here, up against Kevin I, who was he was in a feature match in Bro League, and he's fairly new to the server from the last few months. And Justin's gonna be looking at his hand. What do we see over there?
Looks like he's playing well, he has a blue-white deck in his hand, but he did play a Waterfront District, so I expect some black out of him at some point. But yeah, just some evasive creatures. The Security Bypass, which has been a surprisingly okay card
Yeah,
in
I've
the
seen
early
this card and played
league.
quite a few times on streams, and it's been better than I ever remembered it being in Capenna. But this is a different format. And different. Well, that's a good target for it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, the Library
Um,
Larcenist.
yeah. So Chris York appears to have a fairly straightforward looking white black deck here. He's becoming quite the regular in a feature match. I think this is 5 in a row now, dating back to the last league. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just has some. He has a splatter goblin here. He has a Basri's acolyte as a nice little play next turn. Journey to Oblivion and 2 more lands. So he can take out this Larcenist. I he's still gonna have to wait till 2 turns from now, since I don't think he has. I don't think any of his creatures are in a party.
I really like this Larcenist more than the usual creature, because the other creatures in the past have always been like whenever it deals combat damage to the player, draw a card. This one is one attacks that makes you sure you get that card regardless if you like hit or not.
Yeah, we haven't seen that design much. The first one that I remember was I think it was the core set just the year before. There was a black creature, the audacious thief. But
Yeah.
it looks like Kevin did not find a land even with all those extra draws here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but he can find it eventually with all his card draw. He has a Phyrexian Espionage just to even dig more. There's a
Okay.
Winged Words in his hand as well. But he will find that land. Just who knows if Chris will give him the time to actually be able to deploy his card draw.
So he's cast 2 cards that say draw card on it. He has 2 more cards in his hand that say draw 2 cards. I think
Yes.
I think I understand what his deck is trying to do. It's trying to draw cards, I think. Yeah, so as next turn, Chris here, he can deploy his Journey to Oblivion and get this thing off the board, because otherwise it's just a snowballing card advantage here. He's so
So yeah,
stocked on cards, he's just discarding his divination that could even be a 3 for 1.
he's found his white source, which is what he really needed here. And now he could play Watcher of the Spheres and draw 2 cards again.
Oh, well then. So I believe that Watcher of the Spears gives his flyers like some pseudo version of Ward. Uh,
No, I believe it gives all your flying creatures +1/+1. I think. Oh no, it makes your
oh,
flyers cost 1 less.
cost 1 less. Okay, I think it was in Ikoria there was a card that was similar, and it gave your flying creatures needed spells needed to cost 1 more to target them. Yeah, so Chris, he's drawn a forest here. So I know last we saw him last week, he was had a similar type of deck, white black, and then splashing like Sir Wolf's Packmate and a couple of green cards here. Um,
Okay.
so he's gonna get this Larcenist off the board, but the big story here is he's got Kevin to 8, because this Larcenist needs to attack to do anything, and he's not been playing blockers. I mean, he bounced the Wayward Servant to not take 2, but he's still taken 8 here, despite drawing all the cards that you could ever want to draw.
So I will notice that because Chris is playing the Abzan color combination, and we're in Streets of Capenna, the green is not going to necessarily be splashing a Streets of Capenna card, because of course the color combinations of Streets of New Capenna are green, uh, are not green white and not green black. They're green red
Yeah,
and
you can get a green
green
white
blue.
card. You can get a green
Yeah,
white card in there,
you can get a card.
but I don't know how many green white cards were specifically worth splashing.
Yeah, but yeah, regardless, Streets of New Capenna being a 3 color set, we're not going to see like a Abzan card, from his deck from that
No,
set.
no, that would be I think Ikoria would be offering those, but
Yes,
not
and
not
not
quite
very
here.
much.
All right, so he gets to. We saw this disposal mummy. Actually, I forget what it nabbed last week, but I know it nabbed something from the graveyard last week in the feature match. So this little unassuming card does some work. So yeah, captures are not exactly the creature you want to throw it on, but when you're at 7, you don't you can't be too choosy about what you're spending your removals on. So, none of these creatures are particularly threatening, but they are all, when you're at 5, anything is a threat. And, yeah, I guess he decided he could not deploy enough things to prevent him from losing that game.
No, his line there to survive was, I think, Cartouche of Solidarity as opponent's creature to get a 1/1 jump blocker.
So Chris is having a good time here in Campania. He's got 2 Inspiring Overseers and 2 Giada Font of Hope. So he's got quite the angel
So
squad. He's got Ferja, the Judge of Valor, as well. So
why
he's
not add more angels?
yeah. I did not know that you could assemble something resembling an angel tribal deck, but he's doing his best here. He's doing his best. So I can't quite see what the green splash is for. Maybe it's for something off screen here because I don't see his 2 and 3 drops go past the bottom of the screen. But he has 2 forests in his deck, so there's something there. Maybe it could be kicker. I didn't look at all of his cards. Like he could have something like an Urborg Repossession. That would be a card I would want to kick very much if I
Yeah.
could.
So I once I took a look at Kevin's deck, I was quick to notice that he's not actually splashing any color. He's maining 3 colors,
Okay, so he's just
as is a typical strategy of players in this league.
yeah. Well, between all the opening sets and now both Capenna and Kaldheim offering dual lands at common, you can probably you can make it work.
Yeah, you can make your deck just like stronger over like some you trade off obviously the consistency for stronger cards.
Yeah, so Chris York's gone with consistency, right? He's just like his hand. He has 2 drops. He has a 3 drop. He has a 1 drop that he just drew. Like he just wants to get stuff on board and figures, well, if opponents are playing around with 3 colors, I'll just play 2/2s and 2/3s, and I'll have he has a lot of black removal at his disposal. So we didn't see too much of it last game there. He just had the one. He had the Journey to Oblivion there, but he has
Yeah,
quite a lot of black removal at his disposal. So his plan is get on board, throw down a few early creatures, and then remove whatever I need to, and proceed. And play some angels as well. So he's gonna name Zombie here as he has Wayward Servant as a follow up next turn.
see like this kind of what I mean. Like one
Uh-huh.
side has trying to curve out with like is still fine creatures, but they're like like not the strongest. But then the other side is like just playing all the powerful cards in their like 3 color, 4 color deck, and then like it makes them slower because they have like powerful cards tend to be cost more mana.
Yeah, well, I did say Chris had access to a lot of black removal. He just does not have it at this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, Eradicator Valkyrie is something you want to get off the board. Just 4 power lifelink flying is gonna you know add up real quick if you're trying to
he,
aggro someone down.
he can at least get an attack in here, but it's not going to be too helpful. Now just playing a Death Knell Berserker like this card, um, you know, does is not very impactful at this juncture here.
Daniel Sanctuary doesn't actually say dwarf on it, does it? That'd be kind of funny.
No, it's dog, cat, ox, goat, and snake, I believe.
Okay, okay.
Don't quote me, but I believe those are the ones. I've seen him put counters on creatures before with this deck. I mean, well, particularly the Bloodline Pretender is all of those things, but I've seen
Oh,
him.
true, true.
I've seen him put. I've seen
Oh,
him put counters on Basri's Acolyte. So
oh, he didn't want to blow him out with
no, he
the
just
Animal
wants to
Sanctuary.
play his Ferja here. So I don't know if Kevin clocked that. He could have just got got his creature eaten for 3 mana there, 2 plus a tap. Um, I imagine he just didn't clock that. Otherwise, I don't think he would block. Yeah, so he's just going to feed the Serpent here. He's going to continue this race, which hard to race a lifelink creature. I've said it before. Lifelink is just so strong nowadays. For years, if you ask me like what's the best, what we say vanilla keyword, I would just say flying, like always. But now, lifelink is just so hard to beat. Like when I see a 2/2 lifelink on turn 2 and I don't have anything to fight with, I'm like, wow, my opponent's just at 26 life by the time I start doing something. When I see a flyer, I'm just
It's
like,
like,
oh, I could kill it. It's fine. I'll take a couple hits, but opponent didn't gain life.
well, I think because back in the day, Lifelink was put on a select few creatures, and the creatures it was put on was either like a rare creature which had decent stats, or a common creature that was very low statted.
Yeah, well,
But now, like
here's more
Lifelink, you get
lifelink.
thrown on some decent stat creatures at their mana cost, and then suddenly it becomes a big deal.
Yeah, so I think Chris had the tentative plan of building up his battlefield raptor to first strike down this angel, but him drawing the removal means he doesn't have to do that because that's a risky play if there's a removal on Kevin's end. So he's just sending in everything here. Yeah. So that battlefield raptor is a bird for the purposes of the animal sanctuary.
Yeah, it actually wouldn't have worked out for Chris there because if Chris tried to first strike it down, Kevin could just let the counter resolve and then just destroy that battlefield raptor for being evil.
Ah, right. He has a destroy evil. Yeah. So this was a
Yeah.
much safer venture. All right. So here's just on cue. I'm talking about animal sanctuary. Basri's acolytes here, and this is gonna make this battlefield raptor, I guess. Well, a threat, but it's gonna make it a little too evil, I think. Okay.
Yes, but you know what? Nicely enough, he has just enough mana to activate his animal sanctuary too. So,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, he's
but
just gonna put on
very good
battlefield
draw.
raptor here to attack for max value, and now his Death Knell Berserker is turned on. So that's I believe it reads that if its power is 3 or more when it dies, it replaces itself with a 2/2.
That is correct.
Yeah. So he's gonna keep pumping up the battlefield raptor, which presumably is gonna get killed. But now he can start putting counters on his Basri's acolyte now. So I'm always a little suspicious of colorless lands in a 3-color deck, but like if you can make it work, and Chris's green splash is very minimal from what we can see. So this
Yes.
Animal Sanctuary has a surprising amount of targets. Like we've seen 3 so far in this game that he could, and this is just in the top third of his deck or so. All right, well, here's a very sad, fearless fledgling here. Not
Yeah.
exactly what you want to see. And it's
Fortunately, he's
using
kind of
its
left
white
himself
mana.
dead on board. He just kind of left himself dead on board. He can't block the battlefield raptor, and that's exactly 8 damage.
Yeah, but, like, he could have just destroyed evil, I suppose, right?
Yeah, but fortunately, here's the problem with the 3-color mana
Okay.
base showing right here. He doesn't have double white, so he couldn't have played the fledgling and also kill the raptor.
Yeah, just a little unfortunate run out. I mean, this is exactly what we said Chris's deck was doing, right? Playing the small creatures, getting on board, just putting a bunch of pressure on, and then using the removals to get rid of the things that really need to be killed, like we saw the Valkyrie. So
Yep.
congratulations to Chris York for winning this feature match here, and we'll be back later with our next match.